Are live. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back in with a new stream, and that is right, we are live on this beautiful May 12th, 2025. I hope everyone's having a great day. I'm having a great day myself, and we are joined by Mr. Maga Mao. Hello there.
What's poppin', Real American Patriots? Coming right off of the U.S.-China trade deal. I promise. I knew this was gonna happen. We're so back.
Yeah, a lot to talk about today. The Medicare stuff, which was the big bombshell yesterday, I would argue. We gotta talk about the Doge. We gotta talk a lot of stuff to talk about. The stock market's rebounding quite a bit. So, okay, now before we get into it, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. These are all great ways to support the daily content, and if you have any questions, concerns, or want to support the channel even further, best way is sending super chats via the chat. Again, I read through as much chat as possible, but usually super chat's the best way to get your questions answered. Alright, American Nerd for $3.83, very specific. Hey Rap, sorry for missing your stream yesterday. Oh, that's fine. K come for 2, Trump, say my name G, Darnold, Jaw, oh my gosh, Jaw on American, oh gosh. Alright, so, Luke, what should we start with today? Should we start with the trade stuff?
China, because that's the best thing possible. You know, dude, we went from losing to winning. It was like we were all losing, and then we just switched over to winning. It was the weirdest shift ever. You know, we
let me
were
pull this
winning
up.
everything then. And
So,
Trump's approval is rebounding. This is what we promised. If you trusted the plan, you knew what this would have
I would be
happened.
vindicated in a couple weeks, I think. I would take a huge victory
Many of
lap.
you did not trust the plan. You were panicans. You were all panicans, you know? And this is what happens when you don't trust the plan and you are a panican. Then when something actually does happen, you freak out.
That's real. Okay, let me pull this up. Okay, let me pull this up. Yeah, so excuse me, I'm still a bit sick. So the trade deal today, it's kind of like a stage 1 thing where it's like they reduced tariffs on both sides by 115%. Wow. And I believe that China said they're going to stop the fentanyl, which I don't know how they're going to enforce that, but it does sound like at the bare minimum, this is kind of the stage 1 of the trade deal. So,
And it's exactly what I wanted too, because they're not decoupling. China and the US are still going to do trade, which here's the thing, that's not a problem. If China and the US have fair trade, that's good because you're increasing investment in both countries. What Trump wants to do is basically, if the Chinese can invest here, we should be able to invest in China. And that's what this deal is going to be doing.
And the biggest thing is like, we don't want to be reliant on China. That's the other big thing. It's like, we should not be reliant on China for a medicine. That's insane, which the medicine
we should have a deal where they can invest here, we can invest there, but it's symbiotic relationship. You know, it can't be one-sided.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we've had weak leadership in America for too long who've just like kind of let China do what it wants. This isn't China's fault. China's just looking out for its interest, which is what any good country would do.
It's
this idea that, yeah. So this is a net positive that we're getting this deal, is what I'll say. And if you have a position like this where you're not fully decoupling with them, in fact, you're kind of getting mutual agreement, that actually prevents further tensions from happening between the two countries as well, which is also a net positive.
I would argue we still are decoupling in terms of we're not reliant on them. That's what we're trying to do.
It's different. No, we want it to be more of a symbiotic relationship where for as much investment as they do here, we do there as well, you know?
Yeah, so it's like it works for both sides, not one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, we need China to survive. That's always been stupid.
Yeah.
But that's what Trump meant by decoupling. He didn't mean no trade whatsoever. That was never gonna happen. And hey, Mr. John.
Hello. I'm in my car, grabbing my lunch real quick, but I'll say real quick, Scott Bessent specifically said that we would be separating on 5 or 6 categories, and these are just critical supply chains that we don't want to be vulnerable in times of crisis.
Yeah.
And the ones he said out loud were medicine, steel, and something else. But the ones that I would figure off the top of my head, probably machinery, probably medical supplies in addition to just pharmaceutical drugs, and a couple other things that we just need to be semiconductors as well. Obviously, we are trying our best to not be reliant on Chinese Taipei.
Thank you for that. Chinese.
I
Oh my
said it. I
gosh.
said it because Luke's in the chat. Anyways,
Thank you for respecting me. You know, I have very important bosses, you know, who watch these streams, and they would not like to be hearing more Americans
Oh
using a
gosh.
certain
American
language.
Nerd for 3. Does this
yeah,
mean G? Oh, sorry, John.
no. That's pretty much it, though. It is. It's. What I would say is that we're actually setting ourselves up. If we had to in the future, we could decouple if we become self-reliant in these critical industries. But it's not really decoupling right now. I think it's a very strong step in the right direction, just for personal autonomy for the United States and just honestly, just supply chain sovereignty. It's very good, very good.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, when when they said decoupling, they meant the critical stuff. That's what they meant. They didn't mean old trade. That was never gonna happen.
So like, look, we're still gonna get textiles, which is like shoes and shirts and crap from China. We're still gonna get low quality electronics from China, but the things that you might see us start producing on our own or buying from people in the Western Hemisphere is stuff like pacemakers, hearing aids, stuff that people die if they don't have, or just critical things that people don't function without. You probably will see Western production instead of Chinese production, and that's just the deal. We're just trying to secure our future and not. And look, these are all trump cards that the Chinese government had over us.
How funny
And whether
Trump.
you like whether you like China or not, it doesn't matter. You don't want such a large country to have to dangle your fate over your head
Oh
whenever
yeah,
any sort of
exactly.
geopolitical issue pops
That's
up.
what Trump's focused on. That's what he was worried about. These freaking idiots thought, oh no, he wanted no trade. He never said that. We never even said that.
No, you actually look what Trump was saying. Trump just wanted a fairer deal with China. He never once during the campaign and since he took office said like we want to just completely ditch China.
Yeah.
He never once said
When he
that.
says
He said
decoupling,
he wants more like American business to also take place in China. That's another thing he's
yeah,
been talking about. And
that's
this
what he's trying
deal is
to
going to
do.
allow for that. Yeah, this deal is going to allow for that, which I think is net positive. Because if you do more business like that, and it's more of a symbiotic relationship, that will prevent further tensions as well, which it's a win-win. It's a win-win for everyone.
All right.
Win-win for the world, for China and America.
Yeah. American Nerd for 3. Does this mean G still be demoted to the CCP? I mean, we'll see. I think he's going to survive.
No, he's never getting demoted. He's like the most powerful CCP leader since Mao. He's not getting demoted. This isn't like the Deng era where like just random where you could just like get rid of a leader. Like it doesn't work like that. Unless
Yeah,
there's like
like the only kind of demotion G's getting is like a knife in the back, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like that's the only way.
That's the only way he gets demoted.
Yeah.
Jackson Bass for 5. I know Trump knew what he was doing. It was going to take a lot to undo Biden's America. Well, yeah, it's like, listen, I was getting a bit hesitant, I'll admit that, but not as bad as some of these people are saying, oh, the economy is going to crash and the stock market's going down by 80%. Which, speaking of the stock market, how's it looking today? Oh, yeah.
Very good. Also, just real quick, back on that point, real quick, then we can move on. If any of you are getting recommended these videos, which I have for some reason, saying China's on the verge of collapse and like it's over, just don't listen to them. It's BS. Like I wonder if like the Indians like who like say shit about Israel are like the same people doing this. So I don't know, but yeah, those videos are all BS. So don't get your hopes up when you see videos like that.
Well, to understand the incentive, imagine an Indian like investor, someone like deeply invested in the Bank of India and invested in like the country's prosperity. Well, if people from Indian media heavily promote the narrative to potential investors that China is falling, well, then it's going to make a bunch more business flow into India. So do you understand? Like, there's just a direct incentive for them to say China. Look, a 21% deflationary spiral. Pretty like any other country would be shitting their pants, but it's China, so they can deal with it. But yeah, no, it's serious, but it's not like country ending, like these people are saying.
All right, SOVN for 27. Pope Leo the 14th is machined right now back in the palace. Yeah, you got out of that shitty apartment. Thank God. It's a good step in the right direction. That whole thing's dumb, but
yeah. Oh yeah, Rob, did you see the thing about the new Syrian president saying he wants to build a Trump Tower in Damascus?
I saw that. We'll get to the Israel stuff in a minute because that's gonna be Very interesting what's happening there. But okay, K-Cup for 5. My liberal friends who are suddenly tariff experts after never hearing the word in 30 years. After Trump said tariff is in shambles right now with tariff. Yeah. I mean, like, this was stupid by Dems. Why the fuck did they bank everything on these tariffs? Why? Like, I mean, honest, why the hell did they do that? Like, they banked their entire campaign and, like, their possible house chances on the fact the economy was going to crash.
They had nothing.
I
They
guess.
had nothing. That was it.
But this is like, now they're screwed. Because now look at Trump's approval. I'm going to pull this up now. Rasmussen. They're finding Trump's approval surging. And I think, actually, let me pull up Mark Mitchell. Because he posted something very interesting about Right Track. Let me pull this up. Mike for 2. Moving to 47 is great from B- to B+, big W's lately. Yeah, I think it's gone up a lot. He's proven that he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. All right, so Mark Mitchell, the chief pollster at Rasmussen, take a guess what they have for Right Direction, Wrong Track today. Like, this has always been like -20 for the last like 20 years. Someone take a guess in chat or like Luke, take a guess. What do they find the right track, wrong track at?
I guess it's like 50-50.
Nope. It's actually +3. The
That's
highest
crazy.
in recorded history, according to Rasmussen.
I was not too. Even if you think Rasmussen is like some right-wing pollster, which even though it was most accurate in 24, even if you look at like the Hill and Decision Desk, their average went from like Trump -10 like a week ago to -5 now. So his disapproval rating has been cut in half.
Yeah, I'll get this through in a second, but yeah, this is Right Direction, Wrong Track. It's never been this close.
Yeah.
It's never been this high before in the last 20 years. Never. Again, like this is if you're the Democrat Party, you're shitting your pants because it's like, oh gosh, guys, this number is always really bad because like for the last 20 years it's been like -30. Actually, I can pull this up. Doesn't RCP track this? Do they?
Probably.
Yeah, they do. Direction of country. If I could pull it up, there we go. Yeah, they've been pulling this since you have to go back to June of 2009 to get like a neutral number. It's been negative for 15 years straight. Holy shit. And now Rasmussen has a +3. Their highest ever. American Earth for 2.
Trump. The EU is nastier than China.
I saw that.
I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
American Earth for 2. Tired of winning yet? Not yet. I'm not tired of winning. And speaking of Rasmussen, this is their approval poll. Which again, Rasmussen, they have daily numbers, so it can fluctuate. But in the span of like 2 weeks, it has swung like 11 points towards Trump. Hell, in the span of 3 days, it swung 3 points. And I believe his strongly approval's back to neutral. Yeah, it is. So Trump's approval is surging right now. Even the shitty pollsters, like, didn't CBS find his numbers going up or something? Or was it YouGov?
Dude, even that one that had him down -20 has him down -16.
Yeah,
now.
that's right.
Oh.
I remember
So
that.
it's like AP Nork, or whatever.
Let's see here. Rasmussen's most likely right-leaning. Okay, do I gotta pull this up? Guys, America First Insight.
They have a left-wing bias in all of their polls because they actually properly weight their polling data.
Yeah,
Like they
I'm gonna
have.
pull this up. America First Insight. We have freaking pollster scorecards for this crap. I'm sick of this. Let's see here. Rasmussen. Take a guess what their bias was in 2024. Chat, just someone take a guess what their right-wing bias was.
If I remember correctly, it'd probably be like half a point, right, or something like that.
It's D plus 0.5.
Yeah.
So their bias is actually towards Democrats. Listen, that's the numbers. You can go fact check me on this. This is what we found, which shocked me. You look at the polls, what they're doing. Yes, some of their state polls can be wonky. I'm not denying that, but the vast majority of Rasmussen's polls are actually left-leaning. So they're actually a Democrat-leaning pollster.
Yeah. Rap, I'll be back in like 20 minutes. I'm gonna go mow my yard real
Alright.
quick.
All right, Mike for 2, but Rap, he's bad because he's orange. He's orange. Yeah, it's real. That is the realest thing I've heard in a while.
Have you ever considered that he's orange?
That's real. I mean, like, they're running out of arguments. They have nothing.
They have nothing, and if all of this goes really well, which I mean, China was the big weighty question mark over everything. But if all of this goes well and we have reorganized world trade and we have brand new partners across the world giving us brand new influxes, new export markets, and we actually have fairer trade with the imports. Oh my gosh. I mean,
Um,
like, what do you think? How do you think the Wall Street's going to respond to that?
and the crazy
Like, how on
part
earth?
is, oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
No, what I was gonna say is like the problem for Debs now is like if he gets a peace deal done in Ukraine or something crazy, his number's gonna skyrocket. Like it's gonna go up like 10 points overnight.
Well, like, if the economy is really good by midterms and by the next general election, then what the hell do Dems run on? Do they
Then
run on
nothing.
social issues? The 80-20 social issues that they take the 20 side of every single time?
I mean, they got nothing. I can't think. I mean, look at the Medicare stuff, which I want to talk about this because, listen, see the left immediately reverse their position on this after how many years of supporting this? Like freaking 50? Like, for those that don't know, President Trump earlier today, he signed an executive order implementing what's called the most favored national prescription drug pricing. And for those that don't know what this is, it basically means, okay, we're sick and tired of being charged these ridiculous prices for a pill, which costs what, like 5 cents to make? If that.
Yeah, no, they're all pennies.
Yeah.
It costs next to nothing to make, but you see, it takes a lot of money to actually research and develop the pills. And so all of the pharmaceutical companies have basically said, oh, well, the United States, they've got to pay all these R&D costs. So we're going to sell it to Indonesians and Swedish people and everybody else in Europe and Asia across the world. We're going to give them all these drugs for pennies on the dollar. And then we're going to make, Americans pay 200 to 400% more bare minimum. Sometimes it's worse. Sometimes it gets, depending on what kind of pill you're talking about.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like 10, 20, like it gets to ridiculous rates where we're paying dozens of times more than other companies on specific pills.
There is like one pill, I gotta look this up. I think there's like one pill as an example, is like $5 in the UK. It'll cost like $800 here or something. It's like, what the hell's going on here? Like,
well, I decided before the stream turned on that I would go look up the medicine that I need to stay alive. And because I've kind of talked about how I had struggles with that in the past because it's so dang expensive. And it's not that I don't have insurance, it's that the insurance refuses to pay for it. So you have to have another company like do a co-payment plan. And the previous arrangement I had to have 2 co-payment companies.
oh,
So there's
gosh.
3 companies: my insurance company, my primary copay company, and my secondary copay company, all sheltering the cost of this little vial of fluid. And it's for every, like, what was it, like 100 milliliters, it's like $1,200. But the thing is that you don't you need a lot more than one vial. You need, but depending on how big you are, how tall and how heavy you are, you need like 5 to 10 vials of it. So at the bare minimum, you're paying $6,000 every time you get a treatment.
Jesus.
And I went and I looked up. You know how much that 1,200 vial costs in Australia? It's like 300 to 400.
So, a third.
A third or a fourth. There's a handful of European countries that pay half to a third. There's Asian countries that pay like a fifth. It's so fucking ridiculous. And it's a drug where if you don't take it, like basically you're either going to be in the hospital every few months or you're going to die. And like those are the alternatives.
Man,
And it's
that's insane.
but you get my point, right? It's like this is a very personal thing for me. And I don't see it as communist price controls. It's just like, look, this ridiculous game that we've had with us paying the R&D costs, this doesn't solve the whole problem. With my specific medication, there's a patent problem, and so we really need to restructure medical patents. But this will reduce the price of my medicine I may have my like the financial structuring of my freaking like entire medical plan fixed in a year or two based off of this executive order. So it's very, very deeply important to me, and I deeply important to any other kid or adult growing up with an autoimmune disease or something else. We've been fucked over for so long, guys. It's a beautiful thing, and everybody should be celebrating this executive order.
Yeah. I mean, like, this is insane. I mean, like, seriously, how can anyone defend this? How? Like, is this really free market capitalism? Is it really?
No.
Is it really capitalism to say, oh yeah, we're gonna let people die on the street because they can't afford a pill that's freaking 5 cents a make? That's insane.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, it's actually really funny because they have to like monitor you because if your payment structure changes, then like the rate of suicidality among people like on plans like me like rockets up. And I get it, man. Like there was like I went through 3 treatments one year. It was 6 months. I went through 3 treatments where I had the exact same insurance, but the payment plan didn't work anymore because the company wanted to switch brands. It wanted to go to a biosimilar since they were finally on the market. And when my insurance company took it off, the people that give me the medicine, that inject the medicine into me, they didn't tell me for half a year because they didn't know, they didn't care. And then I get a bill. It's like, hey, you owe us $24,000.
Jesus. I mean, like, I don't know. This is not.
I mean, like, if you've ever been on a if you've ever been on a budget before and you were like told, oh yeah, no, your insurance and your payment plan, it's all good. Just sit back, relax, get this medicine injected into you. Like, if I knew that was like an $8,000 injection, I I either would have ripped the plugs out of my arm or I would have like found a gun somewhere. It's like, no. Yeah, but that's I'm not saying it to make it all about me, but it very emotionally touched me, and I don't want people to go through that. People don't deserve to go through that.
I mean, like, and it comes down to, like, they just want to make insane profits, which, again, there's nothing wrong with making profits, but what these companies are doing now, it's beyond just they're making a small profit margin. These companies make God knows how much each year. Like, I don't want to know how much, like, Pfizer makes a year. I'm kind of scared.
No, it's hundreds of billions of dollars, but the point is, it's not okay. Here's the real story. The real story is that we are the wealthiest nation in the world per capita, and that we have the strongest purchasing power of any nation, and that we have an extensive welfare system, Medicaid, Medicare, and the Affordable Care Act. And all of these systems, money from the government, money from people's pockets because they can afford it, all of this crap culminated in pharma making the decision, listen, we're going to give everybody else a fair price, and we're going to basically completely violate the United States. And we don't care what happens to their patients. We don't care what happens to the insurance companies or the infusion centers or the hospitals. We don't care. We're just going to nickel and dime them until they can barely take it anymore. And look, I mean, you guys look, like, what's the most exploding part of our federal debt, like our federal deficit? It's this medical expense. It keeps getting larger and larger and larger every year. And I looked at it, like the medicine that I'm referring to, that I'm used, it's for my autoimmune disease. It went up over like the course of 8 years. They increased the price by about 70%. It was 68%, but they went up about by 70%. And this wasn't because there was any competition. It wasn't because their product's just the best. It's because of these rules, and because they could raise prices. And the manufacturing didn't get more expensive. Nothing got more expensive. They just could charge more. And this is Donald Trump saying, "Oh no, you don't get to charge more."
We're talking about, like, life and death. We're not talking about, like, some random thing. This is stuff that can make people can die from this stuff.
Yes.
And Trump's making a point of, like, we're not going to let these companies keep price gouging us. We're not going to keep making these insane profits. Again, there's nothing wrong with profits. They do cool stuff, but should these companies really pocket this much money off each pill? Should they really?
Well, no, at the end of the day, they just need to spread out the cost of their R&D. And yes, their profit margin will go down because they've been exploiting the system and exploiting
boo-hoo.
subsidies. They've been exploiting subsidies from our welfare system,
Oh,
and their
speaking of
profit margin will
subsidies.
go down.
I mean, like,
Yeah, no,
subsidies.
right. That's part of why they can increase the price over and over again, is because the U.S. government will just give them more money. You get it?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. This was never about capitalism. This was never about free trade. This is an exploitation of the realities of the world market and our welfare system. And no, they wouldn't be able to do this. They wouldn't be able to cheat like this if we had no welfare system. But we do, and we live in the real world, and it's not going away. So let's deal with it. And Trump's dealing with it.
All right. Let's see. SOVN for 27. By the way, George Lucas is funny Jurassic Park research. Wait, what? Chances Raising for 5. John's rant on Israel from stream on February 5th was totally right. By the way, we don't need Kemp in Georgia. He sucks, and Ossoff is very beatable with Carter or Kane as a Republican nominee. Well, we'll get to Israel in a second because Trump's gonna, I think he's gonna actually do it. He's actually gonna do it, but we'll get to that in a second. K-Cup for 2. Hey, but rap. Trump copied Kamala, price controlled Nixon. That's not what Kamala was pushing for. What she was saying is like, oh, these eggs that we had to increase the price a lot because we killed all the chickens. No, we have to stop that, the price gouging.
Yeah, no, Harris wanted actual price controls, actual corporatist, communist price controls. And the main reason you can never do that in a country is because the state is way slower than the market at figuring out the value of an item. The market figures it out pretty quickly because it's just determined by what people are willing to trade. But when you make the government try to figure out what price something should be, they fail. They either fail, or they end up doing what the Soviet Union and Maoist China ended up doing. They peek over the blinds and they stare at other countries, go, hey, what free market country, what price do you have this set at? So yeah,
I mean that's like the way to do it.
No, that's literally what they did. That's the only way the Soviet Union survived for half a century after World War II, is just like they stole prices from free market countries.
Oh, but communism works so good. 20 million people didn't die.
Also, by the way, it's like Harris didn't just want price controls and like global homo communism. She wanted gay race communism. She wanted to give like $100,000 of extra money to like first-time black homeowners, like minority homeowners. Like I think they might have removed it from her thing, but she had a bunch of equity programs that were literally, there were business loans and house loans and other crap that they were going to give exclusively to minorities.
Yeah, I remember that they phrased it as, "Oh, we're going to help the poor people out." But you look at it, it's only certain people can get it. Like not just old poor people, only certain poor people that are like African American or whatever. I remember that.
Yeah. What skin color do you have?
Yeah.
That was like the premise of it.
That's
what we had. That is what we almost had. And every single time someone someone craps on Trump for, taking time to finish a trade deal or doing some other crap, you just remember that was the alternative. That was gay race communism. There's no better term for it.
All right, Simple Logic for 5. Soyboy aired Root Bar crashing on Twitter right now. Dude is co-posting so hard right now on the executive order. Yeah, so much for the leftists like wanting to help poor people. It's as if they never cared. All they are now is just whatever Trump does oppose him. So, Jacob Hawley for 20. Price controls under Trump. How dare he interfere with our Ayn Rand? Free market. Literal communism. I'll be voting for free market capitalist Democrats now. Rap. Democrats are the true Nixons now. Oh gosh. Party switch. Well, here's what I'll say. The Democrats support corporatism. That's what they support. They support gay race corporatism. Is that the best way to put it? I mean, well, honestly, that's what it is.
I mean, you have to remember, like, the Senate of the Republican Party is the military-industrial complex funding, but the Senate of the Democrat Party is literally big pharma. Like, the medical companies lobby the living crap out of the Democrat Party, and that's why you have that's why the signal went out to all of the the robots. They're humans, but you get it. Like, they don't have sentient thought. Like, they told them all to oppose this executive order because even though it's objectively good for Americans, because, well, all their money comes from the people who benefit from the system being broken.
All right. American Nerd for 2. Should Big Pharma be considered monopolies? Yes. They should
Yeah.
be. They are. I mean, they
No, they're
literally are.
No, just look into patents. Again, the idea behind a patent in the early 19th century was, hey, I want to make a gun, and I don't want someone to make like a knockoff gun and put me out of business with my exact same design, so we're going to put a patent on this gun. And so like it was a protection to allow someone to make money off of like an invention they made. But today, like a patent is just basically, oh, well, you can't make this exact same formulation of molecule as me, or else I get to take you to court and sue you for hundreds of millions of dollars. So I get to be the only person selling one specific type of drug on the market for 20, 30,
That's
40
insane.
years. Yeah, no, I mean, for the specific medicine I was referencing, the patent lasted 20 years. In the entirety of that 20 years, they did nothing but raise the price.
I'm hoping Trump reforms IP stuff. That's a big thing which he focused on a bit more. But I think it's a good step. I think IP reform's needed badly.
Yeah.
But political demon for 5. Rokada is supportive of it. Do you think that means Democrats are going to support it? Rokada's the only one with a brain. The rest are just so freaking delusional that they're going to oppose Trump no matter what. So, but yeah, shout out to Rokada. For those that don't know, he's the one Democrat that has 5 IQ points in the House. So, yeah. American Nerd for 3. Will Trump actually get to recognize Palestine? We'll get to that in a minute. American Nerd for 2. Harris wanted to turn us into post-90 South Africa. Yeah. And speaking of that, I mean, Trump is talking about the genocide in South Africa now. He literally referred to it as a white genocide.
When he first mentioned it, this is the shift. When he first mentioned it, he was saying, I need to look into it more. And apparently he looked into it more, and he made true social posts about it. But this was the first time publicly, in front of cameras, in front of reporters, she was like, listen, there's a genocide going on right now, and none of you are reporting on it because you don't like the skin color of the person being genocided.
Yeah, he said it doesn't matter, like, if they're black or white. It doesn't matter. They're getting killed just because their skin color. So, listen, there's definitely been a big shift the past... Gosh, it's been like the past 2 weeks. And I do want to talk about, one more super chat actually, about the Israel stuff, but Jacob Hawley for 20. I think if Trump advances win and the GOP win out against the snake neocons and paleocons, I think you'll actually probably end up with a Teddy Roosevelt-style GOP. Not socialist, but pro-poor, middle class again. That's the hope. That's a hope of, like, get a pro-worker Republican. Not communist. Don't go the, what's the guy's name? Jackson Hinkle? Whatever his name is?
Oh, gosh.
I mean, like, don't go down that route. But go for somebody that's, like, pro-labor, that's pro-real labor, not freaking, oh, we gotta support the teacher unions. No, go fuck themselves. But the actual workers. So, but all right.
Right. So, I mean, like, it's really easy to describe who the people that vote for Trump are. They're right above the threshold, like, I think 200% of the poverty line. So, like, $40,000, $50,000 a year, up to about $150,000, $250,000 a year. Those are the people that vote for Trump, not the people that are like heavily subsidized by the welfare system. So if you're on Medicaid, if you're on government housing, if you're on food stamps, if you're on every single program, you're not voting for Trump. And that's just a statistic reality. It's not like oh, how dare these people? It's just a statistical reality. Everybody that actually tries to make a living, and maybe they use 1 or 2 welfare systems, but they don't use all of them. That's the bottom of Trump's voting base, and then it goes up from there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I think it's time we talk about the stuff with Israel, because this has been, I have no clue what the fuck happened the past 2 weeks, but anyone can go on Twitter right now. There's been a big shift against Israel. It's not just me, right? Yeah. It's clear people are turning on Israel. Not just random people on Twitter. Listen, there's a chance Trump recognizes Palestine. He might actually do it. So, John, give us your take on the whole shit show happening. Like, what's going on here? Why is there such a shift all of a sudden? I have my own theory, but I'm curious what you have to say.
Well, the story progressed rather organically over the course of a couple of weeks, and it was I didn't realize it was turning into like a long-term story. Started off with, of course, the National Security Advisor Mike Waltz being effectively demoted, And that was the stated reasons. The rumors were that Trump felt as though Mike Waltz worked for Netanyahu rather than him. And then more stories came out that Trump was feeling irritated at the way Netanyahu treated him because Trump was trying to create a solution in Hamas, and Bibi had already publicly declared plans to the contrary of what Trump wanted. And I think that very much upset him that, Bibi would just basically act like what he wants doesn't matter. And then apparently you have a bunch of people cut off. And then there was a trip to Israel planned with Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense. He cancels his trip to Israel, and everybody's kind of confused, and they're going, "Well, what's going on here? What actually is going on here?" And the story just keeps
they claim
snowballing.
They claim because of a scheduling conflict. I call it bullshit.
I don't necessarily buy that, but anyways, it keeps escalating. And you get to this point where the White House and Trump are kind of being a little bit more open about their apprehension, and that they have this Middle East trip planned where they're talking to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, probably for trade deals. But if you're not paying attention, he's going there because these are the countries that can clean up Gaza without Israel being involved.
Yeah, go on. I thought you're done. Go on.
No, but that's most of the story. But you have to understand, like, the relations between Trump and Bibi have deteriorated rapidly, and it does seem to be from a deep disrespect that, I'm going to be honest, Israel feels like it's entitled to against the United States.
That's pissed me off. I'll get my take on that, but
well, yeah, and so the last thing I was going to say, the last piece of the story is essentially Netanyahu coming out and saying we need to wean ourselves off of U.S. national security guarantees. We just need to wean ourselves off of their money. We need to wean ourselves off of their defense systems. We need to, and look, it's not like Israel will find other people to vouch for them. They'll find European countries to give them money. They're going to find sponsors for their country in the Middle East. It's just seems like they might want to be pivoting away from the U.S. now. So that's the story.
All right, American Nerd for 3. GOP re-entered its Teddy Bull Moose era. I'm hoping for that. But yeah, so here's my take on Israel, okay? Listen, I don't think we're ever going to cut off full ties with Israel. I think it's ridiculous to say that. But I really believe what happened with Mike Waltz was a lot worse than they reported. I think they found something really... Like, there was reports that he was talking to Netanyahu, right? And behind Trump's back. I thought
he was like just giving Netanyahu like information, wasn't it?
Well, it's something like that, but I think it's a lot worse than the reporting. I have a gut feeling they found out something real bad, like, oh, we have a problem here, like with NSA or the FBI or something. I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen, but we're not talking directly with Hamas. I mean, we got a hostage deal done, right? Yeah.
Completely separate from Israel.
We told Israel fuck themselves. I mean, they're supposed to deal with that. Remember that? Israel's going to deal with the hostages. How's that going? They've done nothing. So Trump said, screw you guys. We have Americans that are still hostages. We're going to save them. So Trump announced earlier that they released a final hostage, Eden Alexander. And they talked directly with Hamas. I mean... This is what I think really happened. They found the Mike Waltz stuff's a lot worse than they reported. I mean, Israel's trying to start shit everywhere. Like, that's not a conspiracy. I mean, look what they're saying about Iran. But point is, and then people are realizing, oh, wait a minute, these guys are not helping us. And like you said, they're like entitled. Like they think we have to support them. Like we have to.
Well, right. We have to support them, and not only do we have like basically next to no influence over what they choose to do next, but we just need to sit in the corner and let them do whatever. That's the way that Israel's been behaving. And the thing is that the reason this is going to get bad for Israel, if it continues, is I believe Trump also announced that he's going to be going to talk with Turkey about Syrian sanctions. And the thing about that many people probably aren't aware is that Israel and Turkey are kind of staring daggers at each other right now over national security in Syria. And so they're kind of having a standoffish approach to each other in the region, and their goals are misaligned. And Trump's going to Turkey first, and that is another signal to me that we are kind of decoupling from Israel in terms of foreign policy, at least right now as it stands.
Yeah, we're trying to like.
So that's kind of crazy.
Which I mean, how will the boomer evangelicals of the South react to this? That's my question.
They'll probably just stop caring about Israel. Let's
But
be
it's like,
real.
that's a religion. That's like half the religion is about Israel. It's like I don't know, but we'll see.
No, that's not what evangelicalism
I'm
is
joking,
about.
Luke. You know I'm exaggerating, but it's kind of funny though. You know what I'm saying? SOV for 27.
You want me to be honest? I think the reason they're super pro-Israel is because Republicans are super pro-Israel. I think it doesn't go much deeper
No,
than that.
it started the early 1900s with that. I forgot which Bible it was. There's one that kind of like pushed that stuff, but anyways.
I still don't. You're not going to see a mass like.
Oh, I'm not saying
exodus
that, but
into-
I'm curious how they react. Like, do they just stop caring about the issue?
Well, I think
Probably.
it's interesting because depending on how the news is conveyed to them, because if they're told by the news that, listen, they couldn't get our hostages out, but Trump could. Trump brought Americans home, and Israel didn't. And then they hear that Trump is creating permanent peace in the Middle East, absent of Israel. Then I think that a lot of these people, at least the Trump voters, I think they might change their minds about Israel.
All right. SOV for 27. Pope still were God's chosen people. Now Israel, lol. Yeah, I mean, Pope Leo's been great, like I said. Mike for 5. I'm happy the administration is confirming they are not good for going for actual America First governance and not being a puppet of the Israeli war hawks. I'm glad they're taking it seriously. Like, we're not just gonna, just because Israel's an ally, we're not gonna bend over backwards for them. You're gonna treat us with respect. You're not gonna try to pull shit, and we'll treat you with respect back. That's all you gotta do. Anyways. American Nerd for 10. It's crazy if this actually happens. Trump is going to be remembered as the president who recognized Palestine after recognizing Jerusalem as a true Israeli capital. Man, a lot happens in 8 years. That's a funny thing. It's like, oh wait, he recognized Jerusalem as a capital. That's surely not going to start anything. Surely.
I want to make it clear, by the way. Mike Huckabee, who's the current ambassador to Israel, denounced the rumors that Trump was going to recognize Palestine. Does that mean Mike Huckabee knows what's going on at the top of the government? Not sure.
My take is...
I thought I heard the White House was like ignoring calls from Mike Huckabee.
Well, no, they're ignoring calls from Levin and stuff, so...
Yeah, like, basically all the Jewish influencers, they were ignoring calls from them.
Yeah. Let's not ignore that Israel basically threatened America with... Well, I don't know, like... I'm still furious that they said that. Like, they're saying, oh, there will be freaking, consequences if you don't shill for us or something. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Again, that doesn't mean they're gonna bomb anybody, but it's like, you're an ally. You're saying that?
What I think they would probably do is they'd probably just like force the U.S. to take a side by doing a military action. That's my opinion.
Look, regardless of whether it's exactly what Israel wants or not, we're creating a solution in the Middle East that allows them to peacefully exist. So you have to, I would just recommend the audience just watch and see how grateful or how ungrateful Israel is for the arrangement that Trump makes with all these other Middle Eastern countries this week.
All right, Ronaldo
Let's
for
see
2.
how they react.
Did you see the Texas Senate poll today? Guys, Paxton's not losing. That's bullshit. He's not losing. Give me a break. Even they have Hunt winning by only 4. So I don't believe it. Mike for 2. I hope 47's fate isn't the same as 36's. I don't think so. American Nerd for 5. Want to bet that BB Israeli hawks and evangelicals are going to claim that Trump stabbed them in the back after this? Well, I don't think... Again, thinking more about it, would the average evangelical care? Like, the average, like, evangelical that goes to church or whatever. Not the people that preach, like, the prosperity gospel. Talk about, like, the people that just go. Would they really care that much?
I think they'll just kind of adopt more of a neutral stance.
Yeah, be like, we support Israel, but yeah. The whole establishment of U.S. foreign policy has been completely bucked. Yeah, they're dead. The whole thing. Trump's not pissing around. He's saying, nope, we're not losing, or we're not. We're gonna do America First stuff, I should say. Excuse me.
Well, yeah, and I had a friend kind of cut off contact with me the other day because he wanted to sit and like hear in gloom and doom about U.S. foreign policy. I'm like, what have you been paying attention to? Like, what have you been watching? Have you been seeing what's going on? I understand. I think his main frustration was just that it sounded like that we were taking more Ukraine's side than Russia's side. Blah blah blah, all this crap.
And then they're meeting with each other.
And now they're meeting with each other on Thursday. But like the most crazy thing to me is like you look at the statements from Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, J.D. Vance. This is a different kind of government. And this government is bucking all of the generic stereotypes about United States foreign policy. It's deeply interesting. And if you don't notice it, you can dislike the change or you can like the change. But if you pretend that there's no change, I don't know. You're either blinding yourself to what's going on or you're stupid. Like there's not an in between there.
All right, Nari for 2, not anti-Israel, but they attacked us once. Anyways, I don't want YouTube to demonetize the stream. Anyways.
So true.
Let's see. Hold on. With J.D. Vance being so anti-Israel, he has no chance of winning Iowa. He's not really anti-Israel. Oh, right.
He's not anti-Israel.
I just realized.
Bro. I looked it up before like the elections because like it's like a requirement for you to go like pray at the Western Wall before you can be elected to president or vice president. He's done it. He's done the ritual. Calm down. It'll be fine.
Right. But yeah, so I really believe that we're done with Israel. Like not in terms of like we're not going to talk to them ever again, but it's like I think we're done with them being our. What do you even call the relationship with Israel? What do you call it?
It's like when you have like a 4'9" wife who like physically abuses you. Like she's a midget, but like she slaps you around and beats you when you get home anyways. It's like that's kind of like our relationship with Israel, I'm gonna be honest.
But I mean, like when Netanyahu is saying that we don't need America anymore. Okay.
No, I believe him.
Yeah.
I actually believe him. And I'm like, okay, sure, no more money. Bye, money. Goodbye. We don't need to give you money.
Yeah, and I do think a lot of people are turning on them. I think that's actually real. I mean, I'm done. Like, listen, I've always been kind of like neutral. Like, I'm still neutral, but I'm even more like, I'm more of the on the side of like, just end the shit. Just can you really trust them?
Well, I mean, look, Israel's just getting out of like all the stuff because listen, I want you guys to understand something. Whether it's the Pakistanis next to India or it's the Palestinians next to Jews, these group of people are deeply, deeply dishonest people. And I'm not saying other groups of people aren't dishonest. Like I think there's like statistics showing that like there's severe dishonesty in East Asia, and other places, but these people are deeply dishonest. And I had a bunch of friends that got really wrapped up in a bunch of misinformation. I'll be honest, it's just fake news that came out during this time. Some of it was real, some of it was fake. Israel's doing horrible stuff. Palestine was doing horrible stuff. They're doing horrible stuff to each other. And then there was a bunch of other stuff to inflate in the middle. My point is, we're coming to it at the end of the day, and I've always been critical of Israel's domestic policy because they're supposed to be an ally of us, and most of our country is Christian. And like you go and you look how Christians are treated in Israel, you're not allowed to wear your cross in public. You're not allowed to preach the gospel publicly. You can get like beaten with a little. What are they like? Like the what is it? The police bar, whatever. You can get beaten with a police baton if you are disobeying these like big orders. And like there's a lot of like cultural policies of Israel domestically speaking that are very anti-Christian and I'll be honest, anti-American by natural course. So that's something that I definitely point out to people. Is just like, listen, this country that you think is God's chosen people and that you like, that has been kind of integrated into your beliefs as a Protestant Christian, they don't treat Christians very well. They treat them better than the Muslims do, but they don't treat us much better.
All right, Jacob Holly for 5. I think us intervening constantly to help the militarily is done, or at least going to be greatly diminished. Good, you're done, BB. You sounded titled. Yeah, that part's done. I think American Nerd for 5. Just to be clear, we're talking about the Israeli government, right? Yes. Yes. Because I don't think they're bad people. I think it's people like BB. I'm talking about the government.
So I am talking about the government, but what I'd also say about like the people, the Jews residing in Israel, they are not like the Jews residing in the United States of America. A lot of them are not. And I think many Americans would be surprised, maybe even shocked by the cultural distance between Israel and the United States. They look like a developed Western power, and so it's from like a surface level thing. You look at it and you're like, they're the exact same as us. No, they're different. And I think people would be shocked by that cultural gap.
Yeah. Wait, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I slept for most of the stream. Anyway, so yeah, what we were talking about?
We're talking about like the Israeli stuff. Again, my opinion is we're gonna like decouple mostly from them, but we'll see. Which, if that happens, that'd be like one of the biggest foreign policy
My bet
shifts.
is on.
What?
My bet would probably be on like France and maybe Poland, maybe a couple of other countries. I could imagine. Well, not like it's not just going to be one country. There's going to be a few European countries, and they're probably going to start sponsoring Israeli defense. Look, they don't need as much defense spending as we've been like gifting them. They don't need that much. They especially won't in a de-escalated Middle East. I'm tell you that much.
All right, American Nerd for 5. Rap Sargon did a great video explaining East Asia's lack of honesty called #No Payout No Premium. You should check it out. Is that real?
No.
Did Sargon actually make a video on that?
There's a bunch of Indians because like there was the Indian government ordered X to stop payments to certain accounts on X.
That's right.
Because they believe there's some sort of fraud going on, I believe. But anyways, they were blaming the site, and so there was a bunch of Indians who, make hundreds of thousands of dollars a month off of slop content, like kind of bad content. And they were threatening to stop paying their premium if they didn't get their paychecks. No payout, no premium. And like they're lying. They're never gonna stop their premium because it's like a $10 or $20 payment, as opposed to the hundreds of thousands of dollars they were making. Like, come on, get real. Anyways, yeah. So they were basically lying to try and guilt the X into like ignoring the Indian government and giving them their money.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, your John Keane is running for Senate.
Yeah, he's running. Yay. That's my opinion on it. All right. But yeah, I do think overall the whole stuff with Trump, I'm very encouraged by it. I am very encouraged. I like what we're seeing. Again, we got to see what this will be a very. I mean, when is he going to the Middle East? Is it actually today? Is he going today? What day is Trump going to the Middle East?
I don't know. Sometime this month.
Because I thought he was signing the executive order that he was going to leave. But everybody, I do got to end the stream a little bit earlier today. I'm sorry, I got some stuff to do. But if you guys got any more super chats, any more questions, concerns, whatever, send them now. Last calls for super chats, folks. Last calls for super chats. Yeah, people are saying
I think I heard Rob Sand as well running for governor.
I saw that. But yeah, Trump's already in the Middle East now, or is headed to the Middle East now. So
yeah,
he signed the executive order that bailed. Okay. All right, buddy. So I do got to get going. I'm sorry for cutting the stream a little bit earlier today. It's usually I go a little bit longer, like half an hour, but I do got to go. But anyways, folks, thank you all so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. All right, I'm sorry I got to end the stream early, guys. We'll see you guys later. I actually got some stuff going on, so sorry.
All good.
All right, we'll see you guys next time. Godspeed to all.